We're talking with Stephanie Dunn, a seasoned executive in small business lending. I don't care about all that. I mean, that's pretty cool. This is what I care about. A native of Montreal, holds a business degree from McGill. I've never heard of McGill, but I'm also very impressed you're fluent in English and French. So start out in French. Tell me about McGill.
Bonjour, comment ça va? Merci beaucoup de m'avoir dans ton émission. Yes, fluent in French, born and raised in Montreal, which is the better part of Canada, you know, the east-west thing. I'm from the East Coast, and McGill is the Harvard of Canada. I know Canadians, you know, that's what we say about everything, but this really is. So yeah, I'm a very proud graduate of McGill University.
Stephanie, I'm a guy. All I care about is college football. How did McGill do last year?
Well, I don't know how well we did. Probably not so well, but we do have those 10 extra yards. So it's really,
you have an extra man on the field too. So
yeah, exactly. I know Canadians, we all have to be overachievers, right? That's how we roll.
So how did well, first of all, what is the appropriate term that I should refer to you as a Canadian from the Eastern provinces? I don't want to say the wrong term. So if a term of endearment, she is a
Québécoise.
I'm not even going to try that. All right.
I'm a Quebecer from the beautiful province of Quebec.
So what made you come to the United States and do what you do today?
Oh boy, that's a big one. I have to say, you know, the real reason is I think I was probably American in a past life. I could remember being a toddler and not even speaking English. We only spoke French, and telling my grandmother that when I grew up, I was going to move to America. And everyone thought I was just nuts. They didn't understand, like, where did that come from? And I said, I don't know, but that's just my home and I'm moving back. And so I got grief my entire childhood. And that's exactly what I did. I just always knew I was going to move. I just love this country. I believe in the American dream. I've always been an entrepreneur, and I've always really been passionate about contributing to a country where you can really be vested and an active member of your community, and what you give is what you get. And I just believe in this, in the way our life is built in this country. And I graduated from McGill, the Harvard of Canada, and I loaded up my car and drove to America.
What a great backstory. And where do you currently reside?
I currently reside on the beautiful beaches of Wilmington, North Carolina. But it was a trek to get here. I didn't start here. I started in Chicago.
So you ended up being a Southern gal. Very good. Good for you.
Yeah, I'm a Yankee in the South. Yeah, and I'm fitting in just fine.
Yeah, I love it. Well, good for you, Stephanie. I had the pleasure of meeting you for the first time last year, and I enjoy your story. Thank you so much for joining us in the conversation. You're part of a new management group with Chris Hearn et al., Community Bank and Trust. Tell me what the Chief Revenue Officer does for a bank based in Georgia doing SBA lending.
My focus is revenue generation. So business development, sales development, putting together the different verticals here within the bank that will generate revenue. And then our sole focus is always client experience and really how we're able to service the communities that we service across the country, right? So we're a community bank, but we're nationwide. And so I always focus on what are the different aspects of small business in America, how can we service them, and how do we generate revenue and make it a win-win for the entire community?
Well, you're doing something right. I'm looking at the stats. Community Bank and Trust, West Georgia, last year where it was ranked 175th. This year through end of July, you're ranked 35th in the country. 100 loans, $160 million. You're doing something right, Stephanie.
Thank you very much. We have a fantastic team. I want to say this is one of those companies where I call it, we put the band back together. We have a team of very seasoned vets. We have a lot of OGs, starting with Chris Hearn, who's been in the business forever. I think I first met Chris 25 years ago when I was living in Chicago and a little whippersnapper, and I was just starting out in the business, and met him then. And even Michael Bland was in Chicago, and he's our chief credit officer. And I met him years ago. So we have a team of very seasoned, experienced professionals who've been in the business a long time, but have a lot of juice in the tank. So it's really fun to get together with a whole bunch of vets and do a really good job and just really mesh well and it translates to the borrower experience again. It's just smooth and efficient, and I think the results will speak for themselves.
We've seen this a couple times throughout the industry where a team of professionals come together. It's been very successful. How many people, first of all, how long have you been there, and how many people were part of that team that came over and started Phoenix Lending Services, part of Community Bank and Trust?
Right. I've been here almost a year now. So I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary, and I think I was sales employee number 1. So I know, right? Then we've added to our sales team. We've added a lot to our back office. Phoenix Lender Services is also a loan service provider. And so we have a very robust back office, which is absolutely fantastic, because that is the key to success, is build out the back before you build out the front, because you don't want that the cart before the horse problem. So we have overall a team of about 45 to 50 people now in total. And that includes the front and the back. And we're going to continue now to build out the front, which is the sales team, because we have such a robust back office that's ready to go.
Good for you. Tell me what your sweet spot is. What type of transactions are you seeking to enhance the revenue at your institution?
Sweet spot is the classic SBA borrower. I'm very passionate about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, and we are wide open, which is really nice and unique in this market. We have the benefit of having a nice, clean bank with a nice, clean balance sheet. So we're wide open industry-wide, and we're wide open in all 50 states. We don't have any hangups right now. We will look at everything from startups to expansions, partner buyouts. I would say right now our average loan size.
Oh, no, let me stop you. I can tell you. Go ahead. I'll let you guess. I have the exact number to the penny, but you go ahead.
Oh, good. All right. Is it 1.8316552?
No, it is close. It is 1.748584. You had some of your smaller loans. Now, because that's as of yesterday. So my stats are more up to date than yours.
Oh, well, mine is as of today. I'm more of a real-time girl.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, 1.7, 1.8, that's a very high average loan size. Stephanie, how important will be the increase in that cap, which I predict will be around October 1st, important to your bank?
Very important. I mean, look, we have to, the $5 million cap has been the cap for years.
2009, it's terrible. Yeah.
It's terrible. We need to account for the current demand, and the current demand for small business owners is across the board, right? The focus has been, across the country, small loans. And we're all trying the best we can to continue to service and continue to build the technological tools needed for the 350 and under, right? But let's not forget, to your point, about those loans in the $3 to $10 million range. It is such a difficult spot for those business owners to get the funding they need.
And I agree with you. I think that's been missing in the conversation. That gap of up to $10 million, that is very difficult financing for an entrepreneur who all of a sudden, now this is serious, they may have 40 or 50 employees, they're a manufacturer, they're having huge payroll. That's a very sophisticated management team that person has to bring together. You're not dealing with one entrepreneur, you're dealing with the team, and they're too small for some of the larger banks. So I agree with you. I think that's going to be critical for SBA lenders to fulfill that need, which is the goal is to support America. Manufacturing jobs, yeah.
Yeah, case in point, we're trying to focus on manufacturing. Well, the manufacturing is the $5 to $10 million range. Yeah, case in point. And, it's interesting because for a while there, during COVID, the average loan size dipped down to the $500,000 range. And that's when the whole market pivoted and said, okay, let's service the small business loans because that's where the demand is, right? Well, and since COVID, the loan amounts have increased. So now it's time for us now to service all of the small business owners that we need to service.
I've changed the subject here. I love this. Dunn serves as a council member for the state of North Carolina's Innovative Council. Good for you. Tell me about that first. And then I want to talk about, go ahead. I want to hear that first, and then you know where I'm going next.
Thank you so much. Well, yeah, part of my childhood dream was to move to America and to contribute as much as I possibly can contribute. So I'm very passionate about politics. I'm very patriotic. I believe in serving my community. So I do maintain a public service office here in the state of North Carolina, and it's the North Carolina Innovation Council, which is fascinating because we're one of very few technology sandboxes in America. The state of North Carolina has focused on stimulating our state through innovation and job creation.
And what does a council specifically, how does that support that goal?
Our sandbox meets on a regular basis, and our state has approved regulatory ability to waive state regulations for companies that want to come to North Carolina to innovate and create jobs. So it's a way to entice small businesses to come to our state and to create jobs and innovate in this state. And we're able to help them by speeding up the regulatory compliance items they need to follow.
I confess I don't know much about North Carolina economy. Give me a North Carolina business climate 101.
Oh, well, I just read last week, I want to say, don't remember the source, but North Carolina once again was just named the #1 business state in the country. So North Carolina is thriving in terms of businesses moving and headquarters moving to North Carolina. Charlotte continues to be a hotbed. It's still the financial triangle.
Absolutely.
This state, I'm going to have to look it up and I'll send it to you. So we were just nominated the #1 state for business in the country.
Good for you. And okay, and then I have to ask this, the Lords of Lending Initiative. I love the title. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so my partners here in sales are Shane Pearson and Brian Congelari, and we've been together for years. 15 plus years together as a sales team, and we've moved banks together. They call us the Wolf Pack because we always go together. We're kind of like the Navy SEALs of SBA sales, and we stick together. We're very loyal, and we created this really cool little brand just from a sales marketing perspective, and it's caught on, and we're all about sharing in value add, giving it away for free. So we give value add information, tidbits, what we've learned over the last, over my 25-year career on small business ownership and the trials and tribulations of how to talk with the bank, how to apply for a loan, how to go through the process. And then after you close, the 30 days post-close, what they didn't tell you. And then when you're going to continue to maintain a communication with your bank and how we become true partners. So that's that Lords of Lending marketing, where it's a value add platform and we give away stuff for free to small business owners.
Good for you. I normally ask people if they were SBA administrator for a day, what they would do. I'm not going to ask you that. I want to go a different direction. I want to ask you, if you were able to be in control of Congress for one day, what legislation would you pass for SBA?
For SBA.
For SBA lending. You're in charge, and the man or the woman in the White House will sign off on it. So what would you want?
Well, technology reform, first and foremost. Communication reform for our SBA borrowers, PPP borrowers, idle borrowers. There's no communication platform for them to be able to have transparency and access. So I would reform technology, I would reform communication, and I would really, day one, I've thought about this about a million times. What would I do if I was in charge? It's probably a daily question I ask myself. I truly believe that everything we do, whether it's public or private sector, has to start with what is this borrower's experience? What is the user's experience? And if we find it's difficult and clunky and over-engineered or not client-facing, then there's a disconnect. So I think a lot of what is out there right now that is put out there by the agency is not very customer-friendly. these small business owners are not all attorneys. They don't understand the process and procedures that we require them to go through. So I think there's a lot of reform that would be needed to make it more intuitive, transparent, communicative, play more offense instead of defense with these small business entrepreneurs. What is the number now? 47 million small business owners in America. So think about that community that needs communication, transparency, and outreach.
And you are absolutely correct. The level of sophistication for the borrowers, while they're experts in their field of producing a widget or selling a service or running a Main Street business, they're not knocking on the door every day for a loan. And that is a very daunting process. And it's tough. As someone said, if you deal with a lender, sometimes it's going through a root canal. You mentioned technology. Can you be more specific on what you could do to help Main Street borrowers?
The borrower portals, for example. I mean, look at the EIDL portal for borrowers. We require that borrowers navigate the portal themselves because we can't navigate it for them. And it is not intuitive. The EIDL portal is not intuitive for these borrowers that are trying to get a payoff or subordination and work with the bank. Again, we're making them jump through these hoops as though they are sophisticated bankers or federal attorneys. So we need to make this portal, the CAFs and the borrower interactions, intuitive, client-friendly, client-facing, borrower-facing, so that they can navigate their process and self-serve. Because now everyone wants to self-serve, right? Let's let them self-serve in a manner that's intuitive.
Why SBA? Why, in your opinion, is SBA needed for the American economy?
Well, I chose to follow my career into the SBA industry intentionally. And I have made that intentional decision every day because I am so passionate about our small business community and this country. And I believe that the small business economy is the lifeblood of America. And I think, I don't think today is more important than it was 20 years ago, but I do believe that since COVID, there has been even more of a shift. And again, with the baby boomer and the change now in demographics, that silver tsunami that we hear about is real and happening. And guess what? We used to talk about it coming soon. Well, now we're in it. And then we are going through the largest transfer of wealth this country has ever seen. And that's all going to happen in our small business sector.
Excellent. I want you to conclude. This has been awesome. And I want you to conclude in French your encouragement to the listeners of this, of how important they are individually for Main Street entrepreneurs.
Merci beaucoup d'avoir écouté. C'était un vrai plaisir et on aimerait continuer à faire affaire avec vous et s'il vous plaît avec Bob Coleman, le vrai entrepreneur de notre industrie.
Stephanie Dunn, thank you so much.
Thank you.